So Yankees are supposed to get some more conclusive information today on Oswaldo Cabrera before they announce whether surgery is going to be a thing or not. So um, we'll see what happens. I don't want to prematurely say that he's going to have surgery when the Yankees haven't put forth that information just yet. So I'm just holding off until the Yankees decide what they're going to do. But Marin Boone and a bunch of his Yankees teammates went to visit Oswaldo in the hospital on Monday. Before he moved, he flew back to New York, and now he's in New York. So we'll find out in the short term, what's going to happen with Oswaldo Cabrera. So CT cards, what's going on? The Yankees play the Mariners this afternoon in the series finale. Okay, and sports time. What's happening? Sports time. So let's get this lineup out. All right, let me put it out here for you, and we'll go over it. Okay, and guess who's in there today? Trent Grisham is leading off in center field. Ben Rice batting second at first base. Aaron Judge DHing batting third. Cody Bellinger cleaning up at right field. Anthony Volpe's batting fifth at shortstop. Jason Dominguez in left field batting sixth. DJ LeMahieu is back in the lineup at second base batting seventh. JC Escar has given Austin Wells a day off at the dish batting eighth. And Yorbit Vivas is playing third base today. So moving around the diamond today. And obviously Paul Goldschmidt has a day off. But on the mound is going to be Will Warren. And who is he going to be facing on the mound as his pitching opponent? And let's go and see here. It's going to be Luis Castillo. So who's 3-3 with a 3.95 ERA. So this should be a good game. And so it's Warren versus Castillo today at 4:10 p.m. they play. So it's better than 10 o'clock or 9:40. And it's easier to go live after the game instead of the other way around. So, but that's what we know right now on Oswaldo Cabrera, and I'm just hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. So, and you let me know if you guys are hearing anything on the other end too. And again, this heightens the need for DJ LeMahieu to be productive, right? You know, the Yankees added a pitcher yesterday, Anthony DeSclafani, so they're adding some pitching depth after the Carlos Carrasco experiment did really not work. So he's in AAA, so you know there's some pitching depth that they could deploy in the meantime if they need to, while the other guys like Johnny Loizaga work their way back, and Clayton Beater and Scott Efros and Jake Cousins. So, and if you haven't heard, Luis Hill is about between 2 and 3 weeks away from getting on the mound. He's already throwing, but getting on the mound and starting to batting practice and stuff like that, which puts his return right now at late June, early July. So Caskets is in the building too. A shout out to everybody in the chat too. Hit that like button if you haven't done that yet. It's always helpful and greatly appreciated. But I wanted to get that lineup out to you guys. And, you know, I'm curious to see what's going to happen and how DJ LeMahieu does. You know, we got some good defense in there. And I think it's a better idea that he's a second. So, but he's been pretty productive in his offensive output in the rehab so far. So, and then at some point, we'll get Giancarlo Stanton back. So, yeah, that's Caskets. That's up. Positive news on Hill, not Gil. So he's still moving in the right direction. And again, he's one of like 5 pitchers that have yet to come back yet. Yeah, you got him. Nothing. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, exactly. Well, and again, keep in mind they didn't even have to move on from Reyes here. So for DJ, I mean, obviously Oswaldo Cabrera's on the 10-day IL, which will probably turn into something longer, but we'll see. But Pablo Reyes might be the corresponding move when Giancarlo Stanton comes back, because at this point, with the 13-pitcher maximum rule, you can't move on from Reyes to add a pitcher. You have to move on from a pitcher to add a pitcher, and that maximum doesn't change until September 1st. So you can only have 13 on the 26-man roster right now until then. So the Yankees are gonna have some tough decisions they have to make, but they got Hill, they've got Cousins, Beater, Loizaga. That's 4 so far. Efros makes 5. GT Brubaker makes 6. I'm not saying all those guys are going to be back, but this is what the Yankees kind of have working their way back. So Loizaga is probably the most immediate. And that even too, like, who are they going to move on from to get Johnny Loizaga up here? All right? You're going to AJ Nice, we're going to get the Subway Series. I hope they chant. Don't boo Juan Soto. Just say we've got Grisham. What's his name? The talking Yanks. I found that pretty entertaining today. The boys over at John Boy said we've got Grisham, encouraging fans to chant that instead of booing Soto. That's a good one. That's a good way of trolling him. Hello, Tiffany. How are you? But it is a good problem to have. And I've said this, quite a few times. I wouldn't want to be Boone making these decisions, but I would love to be a fly on the wall listening in and seeing what's they're going to be their justification, what's going to be their logic behind who gets moved on from and who gets options, who how are you going to do it? But I still worry about Scotty Frost. I worry about Brubaker because those guys have been unable to stay healthy. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense to boost Soto. I mean, he was good for the Yankees last year, so he moved on for the money. He would have if Cincinnati offered him $50 million more than the Mets, he would have gone to the Reds. He was just going to go for the money and the biggest perks. Can't fault him for that. So, and again, he's not the one that set this 700+ million threshold. Shohei Ohtani did with the Dodgers. So it's just it's beyond Soto. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't envy those decisions either, John. Shoot. It's crazy. Yeah, man. But on deck circle, Jen, nice, man. Dude, you got some good seats, man. That's some good seats right there. Wow. I'm sure he's gonna get his fair share of boos and fair share of jeers and cheers and stuff. So I just hope we shut him down. You gotta shut him down, Lindor and Pete Alonso. You gotta shut those three guys down. So, but the "We Have Grisham" chant is a good one. We have Grisham, and Grisham is, right now he's playing better than Soto, but Soto's working his way back up to normal, which I knew that was going to happen. So, that's a good question, Steven. The length of the leash on, I don't know. If he shows that he can't produce, then I'm also worried. I'm also curious to see how they're going to utilize him. I mean, I hope it's not just every day and letting him play himself to the ground. I hope they filter him in with Peraza and the rest of these guys, and Vivas and Reyes. So we have to slow the Mets. Yeah. Well, exactly. Too. Yeah. Soto's dead to me. I said it when he left to the Mets. I said he was dead to me. So I don't spend much time talking about him either. So it's nothing. Can't change the past. Can't do it. So, but we do need to slow the Mets. Yeah. Yeah, I remember Grisham and them against him. Yeah. Beagle's in the building. What's up, Beagle? So, DJ LeMay, if you haven't heard, guys, he's in the lineup today. They play 4:10 this afternoon instead of 9:40 or 10, so which is nice. And Luis Castillo is on the mound against Will Warren. Yep. Yeah, I mean, yes, last night, Max Fried pitched well. Brian Wu just pitched better. Wu shut down the Yankees. Just a brilliant outing for him. And they didn't capitalize on on the ghost runner. Mariners did. All right. And Yankees tied him up in the ninth, which is good, but I wish they would have gone beyond that. But I mean, it took Fried out of the loss columns because he was projected to get the loss last night, and he didn't once the Yankees tied the game up. So it took him out. He's still 6-0. Yeah, these West Coast. Yeah, I know Caskets. Yeah, I mean, I can't do a post game 1:00 in the morning. It's crazy. Yeah, Brian Wu is very good, Chen. He's got a good arm. He's got good stuff. That rotation is good. Wu, and you got Logan Gilbert. You got some of these other guys there. Darn good. And Castillo, we're going to see one of them today. So, yep. George Kirby. A good rotation. Good rotation. So, and they have enough rotation depth to trade one of those guys away if they want to get a good bat. And it's going to be much harder to trade Castillo because of the contract that he comes with. They move one of the guys like Gilbert or Wu or something like that, they can probably get a serious bat in return. So I would keep an eye on that. If the Mariners want to make a splash, they can make a pretty big trade with using one of those young starters, and they have enough depth to withstand moving on from one of them. But I know they're going to try to trade Castillo first. So it is Oswald Peraza's chance to step up. Peraza, I mean, DJ, I mean, the Yankees have the infield depth, that's for sure. They have that infield depth, which they need, which they absolutely need. And we'll see what happens here. You know, probably he made a couple good defensive plays last night, so he's good with that glove. Yes, he is. So we need him to be more consistent with the bat too, to go along with that glove, right? So for anybody just coming on, Yankees play 4 today. Will Warren versus Luis Castillo. Yep. But he does, yeah, I mean, he's got good stuff too. He throws, I mean, Wu throws like 95, 96, 97 also. So where are you hearing that, Brandon? I haven't heard a reunion with Andujar. Where are you hearing that? Actually, early is good for us, Beagle, because we have off tomorrow, which sets them up to travel after the game today and just enjoy a regular off day back home because they play the Mets in the Bronx. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully their offense picks it up. But you know, they've hit Castillo before. If he's as good as Wood, they're gonna have trouble. But I hope he's not. But he generally pitches well against the Yankees, Castillo. So they need to negate that. They need to jump on him early. So, and Suarez and even Munoz in the bullpen. So, Beater's working his way back, DM. He's up in AAA now. So, he's probably, if we had to go in order, I would say Loizaga is probably the first one to return. And probably Beater after him, my guess. Ghost Runner, I'm not a fan of a casket. I mean, the way I would do it is in the 10th and 11th, I would have the Ghost Runner first if I was going to have a Ghost Runner. And then after the 11th, I would move him to second. But I wouldn't put him up at second right away. It puts too much pressure on the relief pitchers. So, and it sucks too because a relief pitcher comes in, you know, you get a sac fly, move to third, you get a sac fly, the guy scores, and then all of a sudden you get these relief pitchers with a bunch of losses that, it just doesn't look good on the stat sheet for the relief pitchers. And they haven't done anything. You just got you induced 2 pop-ups, right? Or a ground ball and then a pop-up, both of which are outs, but the guy's tagged up in twice. And so I think the Ghost Runner needs to be a gradual thing, and it needs to start at first base. If I had any say, that's what I would do. No. Yeah. I wish the Ghost Runner would be. I mean, the Ghost Runner. they got rid of the Ghost Runner in the postseason, so that's good. But I wish they would get rid of it in the regular season as well. That's what I would do, Kevin. A Ghost Runner, I would do on first, 10th, and 11th, and then move it to second after that. But nothing in the 10th, on first and 11th, I would be fine with that too. So the Yankees just seem to be not They don't do well in the go. Well, they don't do well with the Ghost Runner if they're not the home team. So when they're away in extra innings, they don't do well with these things. So which makes me wish they would do better in extra innings also. And the bullpen's blown 6 games already, so they need to address that. I'm glad they have multiple relievers coming back, which will hopefully put a Band-Aid on that too. Well, exactly too, David Cohn. Yeah, they didn't do their job of runs. They had multiple opportunities with guys on first and second, guys on second and third, and they didn't come through. That's not on Boone. That's not on Cashman. It's on the players. It's their job to move guys over. So, yeah, I agree 100%, David Cohn. Call Manfred. I wish I had him on speed dial, Caskets. I wish I had Manfred on speed dial. There's a couple things I wish they would talk about like that. I wish they would talk about the revenue sharing component and why teams that spend get penalized more than the teams that don't spend. The teams that don't spend don't get penalized at all. That's not fair. We get all this free money from teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers and those teams. They get this money and they pocket the revenue sharing. They don't spend on players, and then the Yankees have to drop 10 spots in the draft. They got to give up, prospects and all this stuff to sign players or qualifying offers. I'm not a fan of the qualifying offer penalties attached to that either. You know, mm, I wish it would have been more. You sign a player with a qualifying offer, that person gets I don't know, a $2 million signing bonus automatically added to whatever contract he signs, right? Instead of you have to forfeit two draft picks, like or a high level draft. That's just ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. You know? I'm not. I don't know yet, Brandon. It's too early to tell whether they're gonna not get an infielder. I mean, if an infielder comes up and presents himself as a better option than what they have now, then I could see them making a move. But we just don't know who's available right now. And teams, and remember, with the expanded playoffs, teams are going to be less likely to move on from players. They want to keep their players, especially if they're on the bubble. So it makes trading deadline trades a little bit more complicated, which is why we say less activity now at the trade deadline. You know, and that's unfortunate. And that's not the Yankees' fault. It's just the way that it is in baseball. This is the owners and the union. This is what these guys agreed upon. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, the pitching. Yeah, I mean the bullpen was fine too. It's a stupid ghost runner, man. It's like ridiculous. Yeah, it was a base hit that won the game. Okay, fair enough last night. But if it was a base hit and they didn't have the ghost runner, then they would just be run on first. It makes it harder to come in and do that. It does make trading more costly. Yeah, it does. The Devastator. Devastator. If Kevin, if the Rockies were willing to move on from Ryan McMahon, I've talked about it for a year now. He's a guy I would look at. He's not a righty bat, but I don't think we need a righty bat there. And he's got some controllable contract years, dollars, and he would be a good fit here. He's my second choice. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the ghost runner, Brandon. He's my second choice for the third baseman. So, yeah, Ben Rice. If he's playing well, then they have to figure out a way to get Ben Rice in the lineup on a regular basis. Even if he does 2 days at first base, 2 days at DH, something like that, and he still gets 5 days a week of playing while Stanton kind of eases himself back in. Yeah, I would do that because I don't want to sit Ben Rice if he's playing well just for Giancarlo Stanton. I've said this too. Like if Stanton or DJ LeMahieu aren't hitting, and Stanton, there's a triangle. If I don't know if you notice, when he comes back, he stinks for a little while, and then he starts to hit, and then he becomes unstoppable, and that's when he gets hurt. And then when he comes back, he stinks, starts to hit up, unstoppable, gets hurt. This is the cycle that we've seen with Giancarlo Stanton ever since he's been here. So. And the fact of the matter is, if he's not producing, if DJ's not producing, the Yankees are paying their contracts anyway, no matter what. It's guaranteed, right? So I would have the player playing who's producing the most, period. That's it. Doesn't matter if the Yankees are sitting them or playing them. I want the most production out of the dollars that they're utilizing. And I think it would be a good idea. But I'm not a fan of sitting Rice for Stanton. I want to figure out a way to get Rice in here. So, George Lombard's not coming up this year. He's got zero chance, Steven. He's in single A. No, he actually just got bumped up to double A, excuse me. He's got zero chance of coming up here. And G is money in the playoffs. And we need him to be productive in the playoffs, too. I don't care what he does in July. I want it to be productive when it counts the most, September and October. And we need him to be healthy when he does that. Last thing I want to do is get hurt, tweak a calf, his groin or something the last week of the season, and then like, oh, what the crap? Like, yeah, no good. Yeah, kind of IKF. Well, where's he going to play? Is the question. And is he an upgrade of what they have, of what we have now? I liked IKF when he was here. I liked him. Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll make the jump to AAA if he plays well. But we need Spencer Jones to make the jump up to AAA too. Yeah, I mean, look, Stanton is slowly working his way back, but we don't know when. We don't know when. good as Cabrera, but I mean, again, is he an upgrade? Is the question? How much would it cost to get him? Yeah, I don't listen to the talking points about Volpe being a bust. Like, I don't listen to Twitter talking points. It's just you have a bunch of people who don't play baseball, don't understand the sport. They just, you know, using somebody else's narratives. I don't waste my time with those people, Brandon. So, yeah. Now Lombard doesn't need to be put on the 40-man this year. I mean, Spencer Jones needs to be put on after the season to be protected from the Rule 5. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I personally, I'm a pass on Andujar. Yeah, he doesn't represent an upgrade of what we have either. So, like, I want like McMahon is somebody I would. Brandon Donovan. Those are guys I would. The only two guys I would consider for third base. In all honesty, so like none of these other guys make any sense. CeeLo's in the place. What's good, CeeLo? Duran. A couple guys need to be. Yeah, put on the 40-man. Well, exactly. I don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter what George Lombard does this year. Doesn't really matter. Michael, yeah, I think we're all sending out prayers as well. We'll for the, if you're in here, the Yankees are going to get more clarity today on Oswaldo Cabrera. Aaron Boone and a bunch of Oswaldo's teammates went to visit him in the hospital on Monday. He's flown back to New York since then, and he's getting looked at. And the Yankees will have more conclusive information for us at some point. It sounds like we're going to get it today. So, Alex, I think you'll get a combination of boos and cheers. I would just be cheering the hell out of Trent Grisham. That's what I would do. No. Yeah, and the A's are a good team too, Jess. So that's the thing. Like, why would the A's move on from them? Is the question. Doesn't make any sense. Josh Smith, is he hurt? Josh Smith, or did he get optioned out by the Rangers? Let's pull up Josh Smith's stats here. Josh Smith with the Rangers. Let's pull up his. Yeah, looks like he's still hurt. Well, his stats there this year, he's batting .310, 4 homers, 10 ribbies, 4 steals, .855 OPS. So not bad. He's a lefty hitting third baseman. He's 27 years old. So he's one of the guys that they traded to Texas to get Joey Gallo here. You remember that. And I mean, would he be available is the question, Steven. I don't know. Yeah. Well, this is the thing, Deron. Like I said this the other day, like guys like JP Sears, right? The A's were willing to wait for him to suck and then go from suck to stink. And now look at him now. He's good. The Yankees community, Yankee fans, and it's just if he doesn't produce right away at ace level, feed him to the Grizzly Bears. And it's like, let's set a pack of hornets on him. Like, I don't there has to be some kind of give or take here with the Yankee fan community. Like we've got to let kids develop. And they can have that level of patience. Yankee fans don't seem to want to. They can, they don't want to. The Yankees can, which is why they don't call up a ton of guys. They actually are patient. And they don't rush guys up, if you notice, like much to a lot of frustration of the fans. But then the same fans will complain, and then when the Yankees call him up and he doesn't turn out to be that good, then they complain about that, and they'll blame the same guys. It's just the rotating level of uninformed talking points is ridiculous. Well, yeah, they're going to be patient with. They're patient with the right people they're on. They'll be going to be patient with George Lombard. They're going to be patient with Spencer Jones. And they want these guys to come through. Like Jason Dominguez was in the minors for 5 years before he came up here. 5 years. So, yeah. Exactly, Beagle. Michael's in the building. This burrito. What's happening, Michael? So I think these things need to be factored in. But again, it's the Yankee universe. It's a different environment we're living in here. Yeah, Dominguez. Yeah, I mean Dominguez was brought in at the age of 15. The Yankees signed him internationally. So Spencer Jones is only in his third year in the system. Dominguez is in his sixth. So it's really hard to compare the two, and especially when Spencer Jones was a converted pitcher. So developmentally, he's behind guys like Dominguez. Developmentally, he's behind guys like Kyle Tucker. So yeah, last season, yeah, and Jeter was terrible when he came up in the beginning. He errors and errors and errors, and he took him a while to figure himself out. But the Yankees saw something in him, and he was also the last Yankee pick that was drafted in single digits. He was the sixth overall pick. If I remember, it was in 1991, 1992. And this was when George Steinbrenner was banned from baseball. That's when they drafted the core four and brought in the core four Yankees. Right? So all this stuff is kind of come around circle here. Yeah, I mean, if you get 250 out of DJ and some solid defense, I'll take that. But I agree, Beagle. Yeah, it needs to be more bunting in the minors and hence more bunting in the majors. I prefer that the lefty guys bunt because they're a little bit closer to first base. Lefty guys with speed. So a lot of people miss the bus, John. Yeah. Yeah. There's no questioning his passion for his team, his passion for winning. There's no questioning that. None. Yeah. But that's what we got, gang. I wanted to get this information out to you. So the lineup is solid. DJ's in it. Would you bunt to screw up another? If I had to, if it was 1-0 game, yeah. Not if it was like 9-0. Yeah. But I'll do whatever my coach tells me to. No hitter can do a number on a team's psyche. So yeah, it's a no hitter has to be earned in every way, just like a perfect game's got to be earned in every way. Mm-hmm. Situational hitting is right. I mean, fact of the matter is, the offensive player needs to do what he needs to do to help his team win the game. So at that point, I don't really care if a guy has a no hitter. Yeah, I want to stop it because I want to help my team win. So, I remember Buhner for Phelps. We had Buhner. We traded into Seattle, and got Ken Phelps with the hairy forearms. And then Buhner came around and became a Yankee killer over there with Ken Griffey, Nega Martinez, and all the rest of these guys. Yeah. Grisham could be an all-star, Brendan. Yeah. The way if he keeps, moving in the same direction with the same momentum, I think he could be an all-star. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, John, I definitely remember Buhner for Phelps, man. That was a rough one. That was a rough one, man. Yeah. Yeah. Fifth in the home run list. Yeah. Yeah. DJ. The problem, bunted with the ghost runner. I get it, Jess. But DJ can't run either. But I know what you're saying, though. I mean, now, DJ will get a starting instead of pinch hitting duty. So maybe he'll be able to kind of get into his groove a little bit better. I hope he can do that. Yo, CeeLo, he had like blonde, hairy ass forearms. Ken Phelps. I remember he was like part ape. I was like crazy. I was like, dude, this guy's got hairy forearms, man. My God. But yeah, I did, CeeLo. Yeah. Yeah, Grisham's opened up a stance. Spencer Jones opened up a stance. Aaron Judge, like certain guys have opened up their stances, and it's made it's paid dividends in their offensive production. I think Michael, I think the Yankees can take 2 out of 3, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets took 2 out of 3. I can't see the Mets sweeping the Yankees like they did last year. The Mets swept the Yankees in both series they had last year. That was a dick punch. So I think it's early right now, Manuel, for them, Aaron. I think they're gonna wait and see how DJ does, because the fact is, like, you bring in Arenado, excuse me, even prorated, he's making about 17 million a year. Let's just say you bring him in at the deadline, he's still owe 10. That turns into 20 plus here because the Yankees are over the Cohen threshold multiple times now. You got to pay double or 110% tax. So that 10 becomes 20. Jonathan's in the building. No. Yeah. Barry Bonds, man, he knew his stuff, man. He knew he was a student of the game. Definitely a student of the game. No. But I agree too, Seal. It was an important loss. And like, if the Yankees win today, they win both series, and then now that's a 4-2 road trip. I'll take that. Siciliano's in the building. It is tricky. All right, Duran, I'll wrap this up in a minute too, again, because I got to get back to work. I think it was a pinch hit yesterday, CeeLo, for DJ, but he's getting a starting. He's starting today at second base. So, and I think, was he batting 6th or 7th? DJ is batting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's batting 7th behind Jason Dominguez and in front of JC Escara. Devers leaves, but I wonder where Devers would go. Yeah, I put the lineup out, Jonathan. Here it is. For those that haven't heard, Grisham's leading off in center field. Ben Rice batting second at first base. Aaron Judge batting third, DHing. Cody Bellinger cleaning up in right field. Anthony Volpe batting fifth at shortstop. Jason Dominguez batting sixth in left field. DJ LeMay, who's back in there, batting seventh at second base. JC Scars at the dish, batting eighth. And Yorbit Vivas batting ninth at third base. And it's Will Warren versus Luis Castillo today. That's the pitching matchup. So it's going to be a good game. They play 4:10 p.m. today. So, and we're supposed to get more conclusive information on Oswaldo Cabrera today. So we're waiting here. And again, if anybody in here is not subscribed to this channel, please do that. And if your notifications aren't turned on, please turn them on when you subscribe, even if you have subscribed already. Just that when I put out news and you get updated stuff, it'll hit your it'll hit your phone and your notifications immediately. That way you don't miss anything. You might go to the Dodger game. Nice, Jonathan. Who are the Dodgers playing? I saw Roki Sasaki is now on the IL. That's 3 starters they have with the Dodgers. Sasaki, Blake Snell, and Tyler Glasnow. Oh, yeah, they play the A's tonight, 10 p.m., so 7:10. And it's Gunnar Hoglund versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So that should be a good one, Jonathan. That'd be a good game. No, Devers does not come to the Yankees. There's no way. He's not a fit here either. No. And that's another question. That's a good question too, Michael. I don't know. It's a good question. Yep. And that's why, like, even Bryce Harper said, if Rafael Devers gets traded to the Phillies, I'll move back to the outfield. A selfless gesture. Like, and even Aaron Judge was taking reps at first base. Like, he was willing to be moving of positions too. But Rafael Devers, and he's making $300 million. And he got called out by Jonathan Papelbon, who's like universally hated by a lot of players. And Papelbon was right to call him out. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. When Jazz comes back, do they put DJ at third? Maybe, most likely. If he's still here, yeah. But Devers, I could see him going to a team like – I could see him going to a team like the Dodgers. Team like the Reds. He can go play for Tito again. There's some teams that he can go to that can make an impact. Go to freaking Astros too. That was a report the other day, Manuel, but we are waiting for more corroboration on it. The report said that the Red Sox signed Rizzo, but we're waiting for more corroborating reporting on that. Just, it makes sense for them to sign Rizzo because they lost Tristan Casas for the year, but it also makes sense for them to ask Devers to go to first base, right? But he's refusing to do that. So, could you imagine Devers in Toronto? Oh my God. Yeah, play him a third there, and then you can have Vlad at first base. So, Rizzo was drafted by the Rams. Was he really? Yes, I didn't know that. Yeah, but that's what I got for you, gang. So I want to thank you all for coming on. Hit the like button on the way out if you don't mind. Um, he did get drafted by Red Sox. That's cool. That's cool. Very cool. We'll be back later. My plan is to go live after the game to recap the thing, and hopefully we'll be celebrating a win. If they win today, they win the series. They win the whole West Coast trip if they do that today. If they lose today, they go 3-3 on the West Coast trip. If they win today, they go 4-2. So I'd rather they win today. But again, it's a tall task against Luis Castillo. So hopefully Will Warren, matches Castillo as best he can, and hopefully our bats come through more than they did last night, right? But go have a great rest. Well, yeah, Pete Rose and the rest. Yeah, and we talked about that yesterday too, pal. I was saying, but other than haven't heard, MLB lifted the ban on suspensions now, or being banned from baseball. Once a person passes away, then they're no longer ineligible for the Hall of Fame, which makes Shoeless Joe Jackson and Pete Rose now available to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So it's easier for for beat writers to justify signing up, checking the box for Pete Rose, whereas before people would just get heat. But we'll definitely elaborate on that too. But have a great rest of the day, everybody. Peace and love to all of you. You are the best. I'll see y'all later.